Okay, good to go. All right. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Marta. I'm one of the many hosts at CJSW 90.9 FM. I've also been so privileged to be a part of the Beltline Neighborhoods Association, and I'm really delighted to be able to host these 2020 Artist Talks. So to get started, we'll just go along the line if you want to introduce yourself and say a little bit about your practice.
All right, I'm Derek Simmers. I'm a Calgary-based artist. I've been active for 4 years or so, doing murals here and there, generally with my sibling Kyle Simmers. And I'm a member of Burnt Toast Studios along with Sarah. And yeah, I don't know, I'm excited to lead my first mural for Bump.
Yeah, my name's Sarah Slugger, and I'm a Calgary-based artist as well. I've done everything, art, anything since I was a young kid. There's no startup, but murals are hot right now, and it's a pleasure to do them.
I'm Cam Hoff. I'm one half of Slugger Studio with Chris. We've been doing illustration and graphic design for 3 years. I've been doing that for 20, and we're just enjoying doing some murals.
I'm Chris Pecora. I'm the other half of Slugger Studio with my main squeeze here, Cameron Hoff. I'm also a graphic designer and illustrator. This is our 4th mural that we've painted together, and we've done a bunch of like boring digital ones that are just printed and slapped up. But yeah, 4th painted one, and yeah, biggest one we've done to date, and it's been challenging and fun and exciting.
So I'd love to hear a little bit about the murals that you're preparing or starting to undertake. So why don't we start with you two, because you're a team on this one. So I'd love to hear kind of what the concept is and yeah, how you're planning on executing on it.
Well, we're on day 3 of the mural so far, and we've pretty much got the wall covered, but it's still pretty janky, so we've got to iron out some of the kinks over the next few days. And our concept is a 40-foot squirrel holding a person in his hand or paw or lobster claw. So it's very open to interpretation.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, a lot of people come by and they say, are they conversing, or is the squirrel going to eat the man? And we like that that's open to interpretation.
we don't even know.
I don't know. One guy said, "Is that a dragon?" And now, so when people come by and they ask, I like to tell them it's a dragon. So, I don't know. So it's like open to interpretation.
Nice.
Not really, but.
Sarah, what about you?
I've got an awesome wall on 12th Ave. I like it because it goes right with the past the bike path on 12th. But it's an old school house. It turned into a company, like 1908 it was built. So I love the wall itself. And I'm doing like a condo pile up of birdhouses with sneaky cats all the way around. The request that I had from the owner was to make something colorful. And that was about it. So I wanted to do something that would make people giggle if they walk by and go, oh. That's the reaction I want.
I'm doing a piece inside the CPA parking lot across from National on 10th. And it's going to be kind of like a hallway space leading towards the elevators, which the idea is that it's going to be kind of like the first thing that's seen. They're going to be doing like a park kind of on the upper deck. And so they want it to kind of be a leading space towards that. And so I kind of took the like space as like a bit of a challenge, and to like kind of contradict the like enclosed nature of it by making kind of an abstract piece that is intended to feel very like spacious and kind of open and breathy, I guess. I don't know. And it's an opportunity to like work with abstract and like expressive kind of forms. I've done a lot of like figurative work in the past, so it's kind of a move into something different for me. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Nice. I'm curious to know how your artistic practices kind of contribute to or influence your work in murals? Because again, your background's in like graphic design and illustration. Burnt Toast is a printmaking studio, and so how do you bring those other disciplines forward into mural work? And Sarah, I'd love to start with you on that one.
I have slight talent in many areas, and I just mash it all together and call myself an artist. I actually learned how to silkscreen at Burnt Toast Studio. That was one of the coolest things that I have learned from really good teachers. Otherwise, every time there's a challenge, I go, how hard can it be? Let's give it a try. And hopefully it turns out well. Hopefully people like it. So,
Nice. Cam, what about you?
I think we as graphic designers, we approach murals and art a little differently than a traditional artist. I think it's really like kind of process driven, and I don't like, in terms of just style and tools, we generally keep things really flat and graphic. In terms of like process,
Yeah, I don't know. The murals are. I feel like there's nothing really in common with what we do in our day-to-day with graphic design, because it's all digital and it's all in a nice comfortable chair and it's on the ground, and you know, like you can zoom in and zoom out, and it's, I don't know, it's a lot like safer of an environment. And then when you're doing a mural and you're using a lift and you're 40 feet up and I don't know, it's interesting to have to problem solve in a way that is just so physical, because I don't really make many physical things. It's all just very like vector-based artwork. Like it's very, yeah, if I want to move something, I can just grab like a little point and drag it and whatever, and that's sort of the extent of art making or illustration making that I do on my day-to-day. And then when it comes to actually applying it to a wall, yeah, I don't know, I find it to be pretty challenging, because when something doesn't look right, it's like, all right, got to figure out how to fix it.
It's challenging, but it's super enjoyable because it's different, and it's like we spend all our time on the computer, and to do something tactile is just, and outdoors is just so refreshing. And like, I fixed my fence last week, and it's kind of the same thing, where it's like I just really enjoy doing things like that, because it's not sitting at a desk indoors. It's just tactile and making things and doing things.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm kind of similar. Like I work digitally a lot, or I compose things digitally quite often. Like I'll work in graphite generally, and I don't know. I like working with like mark making a lot and texture and things like that, and so scaling it requires like a lot of certainty, I guess, about the outcome. I find it's harder to like improvise once you're in a larger space. So in this case, there's going to be a bit of improvisation, I think, but yeah, we'll see.
it's just a bit of math.
Just a bit of math.
Just a bit of math.
Well, that part I'm not super worried about. We've done like the like pretty graphic stuff in the past, and so this one's going to be a lot more like gradients and textural elements. So I'm kind of excited to experiment with that a bit.
I'm just curious if you guys planned out the piece digitally and then are now kind of working to transpose it, or how that kind of process works. I guess I'm picking on the digital artist in the room, sorry, but yeah, I'm curious how that process kind of worked.
Yeah, we generally work 100% digital. Like for this one, we did some sketches in Procreate, and then kind of iterated on that in Illustrator, and back and forth. We usually just pass things between us to collaborate and iterate, and even just switching between Procreate and Illustrator, you get different tools kind of influence the shapes and the forms, and kind of morph it and evolve it as you're working with it. You agree with that?
Nice.
Yeah, like I started with graphite for this one, and like a lot of it is just kind of like noodling around. Like with this one, I'm just looking for interesting like mark making techniques and things like that. Like I'm a big fan of life drawing, I guess, and when I used to do a lot more of that, I guess what I kind of got really wrapped up in is just the way that like a line can, really kind of bring a certain energy to a piece. And so with this piece, it's kind of not really trying to depict anything in particular, but it's just kind of like all about that quality, I guess. And so it's going to be interesting taking like these kind of like fine little like feathery marks that are just like this big and then blowing them up and trying to kind of like maintain that sense of fluidity and ease, I guess. So I'm excited to figure out how that's going to work.
And Sarah, I'm curious to know, how you kind of planned out your piece.
Yeah, the privilege of having a computer and all of the amazing apps that we have for design, because then you can put everything together, do your line work, start with the sketch, scan it in, use Procreate, and then start to color it. And it's wonderful to be able to look at this tiny little screen and go, oh, that's a terrible choice. That's
Yeah.
And then you close it and you go to bed for the night, and you look at it in the morning. But I do all of mine digital and sketch combined.
Nice. And so when we're considering mural work, it's in a built environment, in a built space. And so I'm curious to know how you considered the context of that built space when you were approaching your work, or was it just, do the work first and then kind of work backwards and see how it would fit in the space? Derek, I might pick on you here or start with you at least, because you kind of had an interesting note about, trying to bring, that feeling of expansiveness into a parking lot. And so I'm, kind of curious to know how the space influenced your art and vice versa.
Before I had my space given to me, I was thinking of different ways that I could kind of integrate the use of the space into it. And I was kind of thinking about like what kind of history is involved with the space and stuff. Like the last one that I helped out with Kyle last year was on a old nightclub, and so we kind of like had a little ode to that in there. And so in this case, it was like it's a really like utilitarian kind of building, so it kind of opened up a lot of opportunity, I guess, just to kind of be like throw whatever at it. And so I guess like the idea of it being kind of just mundane in a way gave me the idea to kind of, I don't know, veer as far away from that as I could, I guess, and try and kind of make it more, I don't know, breathy and big and weird.
Nice. Sarah, what about you?
I saw the building, and like I said, I really like that it's a heritage building. But with all of the murals that have gone up over the last 3 years with Bump, there's been so many that have integrated part of the architecture into the design, and I love it. Whether it's the simplicity of covering up a metal sheet and making it somehow 3D, anything, I looked at that and went, oh, I got to give that a try. So I've done my best to integrate it into my design, and it's fun as it goes along. Yeah. Hopefully it works.
Cam, what about you?
Well, our first concept was a rat, and nobody really liked the rat. Even though it was a fun rat, it wasn't a gross rat. It was a fun rat.
We should set the context that our wall is in an alley, so it's in an alley. It's alley facing. So it's a rat's natural habitat.
Yeah, we wanted something that, maybe some kind of creature that might abide in the alley. So,
but giant.
But very large and sort of fit to the wall. So, we ended up moving to a more likable rodent, the squirrel, Calgary's very popular.
Calgary's rat.
Calgary's rat. But he's sitting on top of the door, which is we kind of really like the idea of integrating some of the features of the wall into the space, and he kind of
and that's a benefit of working digitally in Procreate. You have that actual photo of the wall, and I like to start kind of drawing right on the actual photo, and then you can kind of work the shapes around the window and the obstacles and the kind of the kind of natural features of the wall that are there.
Nice. Again, the thing with murals, of course, is that they're so public, and when it might come to your other artistic practices, there's, for lack of a better word, kind of a paywall behind it. Either it's in a gallery space, or there at least is some kind of barrier to entry in some respects to the public viewing your work. But with murals, again, it's totally out in the public. And so I'm wondering if there's any sort of vulnerability to being that public facing. Sarah, I'll throw that one to you first.
I love it. That's my favorite part about public murals, is that it's totally accessible to anyone at any time for anything. Whether you just want to stare at something pretty, whether you are just noticing it for the first time, it should be part of your day. And maybe you pass it so many times and you see something new. I just like the idea of having it publicly in full public access. But with that mine, I wanted to simply make people giggle. That's the only response that I wanted, even if they pass it by several times. They look at it, they giggle, they photo in front of the full on Instagram, the selfie with lots of color.
Selfie moment, yeah.
Yeah, of course, a selfie moment. That's exactly what we want. So
Nice.
yeah.
Derek, I'm going to throw that one to you, and I'd be curious how you kind of, would approach that question, not only in this project, but kind of your previous mural works as well.
I guess my favorite component of the public aspect is like during the process of install, like having people pass by and comment on it. Like that's something that you don't really get to engage with when you're just working privately. And it becomes kind of like this like social aspect that is kind of unique to this process. And then after it's done, then I guess through like Instagram and stuff, you get constant feedback of people, like posting selfies next to it or whatever. And it's kind of validating, I guess. It's cool. And then it also reminds you that like that piece, once it's done, is kind of like not owned by you anymore. It becomes like a property of the people who are using that space regularly and who, happen upon it. Like it becomes kind of, public, I guess. It's cool.
Chris?
Yeah, well, early on when we started ours, we were kind of trying to figure out what angle we wanted to go with. And ultimately, what makes a project a Slugger project is usually there's some kind of element of fun or dumbness or something. But same kind of idea of like we want people to laugh at it. So I don't know. Hopefully we're achieving that in some respect with this one.
No, I've observed people walking by and just kind of
Laughing.
We're getting some grins. We're just looking for grins.
Yeah. Well, and it's really good when other people are passing by, because I love the guesses. I love the kids compared to the parents, all the guesses of what you're doing. You turn your volume down in your headphones and you sneaky listen. Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually been getting a lot of people come by and they just kind of come up real close and look and then don't say anything and walk away. So that's kind of a new one. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, I love these answers because, again, that sense of fun, that sense of playfulness, the giggling, that selfie moment. And we kind of touched on it in the previous question, but do you feel a sense of responsibility in kind of stewarding the public reaction or kind of eliciting a specific reaction in public art? Or again, is it just, put the art up and it'll land where it will?
People will interpret all different forms and layers and colors and history of any art piece, no matter what it is. It can be a circle with a dot in the middle of it, and people will interpret it in different ways. So as an artist, you have to be prepared for any kind of feedback, whether it's negative feedback, people who hate your piece, or people who are doing selfies right in front of it. You have to be ready for all of it, but you're making something really accessible, so it's a joy to do it.
Nice.
yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword though. There's that so much pressure. Like, I don't know. I feel some pressure to perform and make something cool when it's something that's so public versus something that's more private and smaller.
Because you're really cool.
Oh, thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
You're cool too.
Thanks, buddy.
Derek, any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. Other than like just being consistent with a certain quality, I guess. Like, I just kind of want it to be good. I think, like, I want it to be received well. Like responsibility is an interesting word to use. Like, I think, yeah, like I feel responsible to make good work, because I think that if like the intent of art should be to kind of like enliven a space, and so if it's doing that, then I think it's successful. As far as like responsibility towards like content goes, I think that is like a really personal process for the artist, and I think that the best that you can do is, I guess, bring some honesty to the work, and part of that should be like, you know, considering the fact that that it isn't going to be yours afterwards. So, you know, trying to kind of like preemptively have this kind of like conversation is part of the process, I guess. And yeah, I guess that changes with each project. So it's really dependent on where it's going to end up.
So Bump is now in its third year of commissioning murals all across the Beltline, and I'm curious to know what you think the role of public art like the murals projects like Bump kind of have in terms of community building. Chris, maybe I'll throw that one to you.
What's the question?
Yeah, so that's my fault. Let's rephrase that better. So what do you think the role is of public art to create community, or what place does it have in the sense of community building?
Well, I think just having public art and having something that, you know, a large group of people can access freely on the street, you know, it gives us something that we can then share in common with each other, and we all get to have the experience of viewing some of this stuff. I know, like, personally, I feel like it's really, really, yeah, it's transformed this area of the city. Like, I've been in Calgary for 10 years. I've been to cities like Montreal, where like every single wall has a mural on it. And just so happy that it's happening here, because you can walk down the street and you're not just staring at, you know, either blank walls or walls that have tags on them, or walls that had tags and got covered up.
That's even worse.
You know, so
The covered tags.
like
Oh.
to bring beauty into the city, and to bring it like just interesting art, and yeah, I don't know, like I think it's really powerful, and it really has transformed this city in the sort of short time that Bump has been running. So.
Yeah, and it's a range of reaction. Like, you talk about wanting people to giggle, and we talk about we want people to smile, or it's something fun that's going to make people smile. There's other pieces that are more kind of make you kind of think, or make you look into yourself. There's more reflection. So I think there's like a wide range of value that comes from public art and the pieces, even just within Bump.
I think like the nature of a festival too is interesting. Like, one, the fact that it's all happening at once, people know about it, they're like keen to come check out the people working on it in the process, and getting to interact with the artists is a cool opportunity, especially for people that like are aspiring to do it themselves. Like, it's a great opportunity to just watch for like a minute or so and ask some questions and that kind of thing. And then the other aspect would be just like the fact that we get to meet other artists is really cool. Like, last year I met some really, really cool artists, and have like kept in contact with them, and the nature of that community building, I think, is really special, and something I appreciate a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, we cover up the beige walls in Calgary, and it gets better and better. Born and raised, it's one of the things that we never saw, and it's really positive for everything from tourism to the simplicity of chatter between people walking down the streets.
Nice. And yeah, this panel is great because you're all local artists, and so I'm really curious to know how this question is going to land, which is just Calgary's kind of reception to public art in general, because I know with certain maybe sculptural pieces, they can be a bit more contentious or there's a bit more debate around them. And so I'm curious to know, just from your experience and your interpretation, how Calgary's attitudes towards public art might be changing or not. Maybe I'll throw it to Sarah.
Of course, you throw the hard question to me. I'll make no jokes about Alberta. But we have continuing arts and culture development, and that's amazing and really important. That's something that I appreciate, and it's creating a lot of work for a lot of really good people. Pass it on to people who have better linguistics and put more thought into it.
Derek.
Well, I don't know.
Derek,
I don't
that's
know.
you.
Like the feedback that I've definitely got when working on past murals is that it's like something that's been like overdue, let's say, I guess. Like the people that come out and say like, finally Calgary's doing this, there's like quite a lot of people that have wanted this for a while, it seems, and have been kind of, led down, I guess, by certain public art expenditures in the past. And so I'm gonna say,
We're talking about the big blue ring. Let's just get that.
And the sweet finger trap.
Which one?
The bridge, the finger
bridge?
trap.
What's that?
Oh, the Peace Bridge.
The Peace Bridge.
Oh yeah, I like the Peace Bridge, but I don't know. People seem pretty stoked about it happening.
Yeah, I think the general reception of murals is generally pretty good. Like versus like it's interesting you bring up sculpture because that does seem to be the stuff that's more contentious. I don't know why, but like cost. Cost is a big piece. Like the big blue ring, the piece by COP that was controversial, and there's some of those things that, like you don't see that kind of an uproar over a mural. Not in my experience, anyway.
Not yet.
Derek hasn't
Just
done
wait.
his yet.
I'd like to push that a little bit because you're kind of totally right that there hasn't been as much, kind of public discourse about murals versus, again, sculptural pieces. And so why do you think that might be? Why are murals kind of more easily accepted as public art pieces than other forms?
I think maybe just like the fact that it's accessible in a way, like it's something that, like we're all Calgary based. So I think that's something that people kind of are happy about, that they can kind of like see like the face that is putting it up. It's not like, somebody who lives in Italy who's commissioning employees to do it or whatever. It's like, I guess more, what's the word for it? I don't know. DIY? No. Yeah, I don't know.
Relatable, maybe?
Relatable, I feel like people
I don't
can
know.
more like easily see themselves in the position of the artist, like putting that up on the wall, rather than something that's really a lot more like intensive, I guess. Not that murals aren't intensive, but
Yeah, but you talked about the cost a little, but I feel like there's something else where there's like sculpture is there's like a step, unless it's something really kind of figurative and kind of a straight representation thing. It's, I don't know, it's a little more artistic, for lack of a better word, but it's like it takes a little bit of a higher understanding of art to kind of unpack an abstract sculpture than a two-dimensional image, I think, maybe.
yeah, that's something that people do anyway, right? Like, just left without any like public support, people will go and like make tags and stuff, and I think that that's a form of like expression that people have a yearning for. And so when it's supported and when it's like cultivated to like a level of, I don't know, more like bigger scales, more relatable concepts, I don't know, I guess it is.
But yeah, like when you talk about it, things being more relatable, is it maybe that people feel like that's something I could do?
Yeah, I think that's kind of
Not to like downplay what we do, but
Nobody looks
it's
at a
something to
mural and
aspire
goes,
to, I think, right? Like it's
Yeah.
no, but we've done community murals where we have people from the community. There's that whole kind of public art community engagement thing that's often a part of public funded art, where it's like people come out and they help paint and there's things like that. So I think anyone can pick up a paintbrush and slap down a block of color on a wall, and there's versus casting some giant behemoth piece in bronze. Like, it's just that kind of accessibility. Like, pretty much everyone's painted something, whether it's a fence or a wall, or there's just that kind of relatability to it, where it's like, I can paint versus I can cast something in bronze that's 80 feet tall. Yeah, for a couple mil. I could do that for a couple mil.
Yeah, kind of same thoughts there, Sarah?
Yeah, I really like that we still have funding in arts and culture, and that what I really like about Bump is the balance between everyone from other countries, other provinces, and locals all combined together. I think that's amazing, and I think it's a really important contribution to have all of the options to make it available to everyone.
Nice, thanks. And so kind of to slowly wind down, again, thinking along the lines of city building and, again, public art in the context of Calgary specifically, what do you think individuals can potentially do to continue to champion public art and ensure initiatives like Bump can move forward and continue into the future?
Social media is the key. I mean, my grandmother just got an iPad. If you post everything and people post it for you, and it's integrated into the communities, into all activity, it will continue, and it pushes itself. I think that's a really valuable spot. It's the best way to do it. Again, the accessibility, something fully open, and you get positive feedback, and it changes the aura. It's a very hippie word, but it changes the aura in a space and makes it positive. Like, my area was, it had dumpsters right across from it. They've been removed by the city, and we're putting colors up. It changes the whole space and your experience as you walk through it.
I love that, changing the aura of a space. That's that's perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. It like art inspires, I think, for a reason, right? Like, it provokes something more than a brick wall does, right? Like, I feel like that's kind of an obvious statement, but I don't know, back to the question, I guess, of what people can do to continue championing public art in the city. I think, like, it can work at, like, small scales. Like, I think people can just, like, hit up their own community associations and try and kind of, like, champion this stuff at, like, whatever scale is possible. Like, there are a lot of micro grants out there for, like, community projects that don't really go to much use, and, like, you know, I heard of, like, an initiative, I think, in Kensington, where they did like an alley mural thing. Like, small things like that I think are really cool, and I think, you know, this stuff starts small. Like, Bump started with, like, 4 murals in the first year, and I mean, it's gotten pretty huge in only 4 years. So I think that, you know, other neighborhood associations can easily replicate this, and I think that they should. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, our first mural before we were Slugger officially was one of those neighborhood grants, like a small grant, community association. But yeah, I think one way people can support arts is to vote for political parties that support the arts.
That too.
Like, I honestly, straight up, like, I know Bump lost some funding due to cuts from the UCP this year, and if you're not voting for parties that support the arts and put their money into the arts, then we're going to lose the opportunity to create art publicly at this scale anyways. Sorry.
No, yeah, ending on that note. Nice softball. No, but I think, it all fits together, right? Like, the small micro of changing the aura of an alley can lead to, the bigger festivals, which leads to, you know, hopefully getting that government support. So it's all connected. Thanks for that. Is there anything else you'd like to add as we start to wind down?
I got nothing.
Covered it all off. Well, thanks so much. Folks can check out the Bump website for for details about your project and where it's located. And thanks so much for participating. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you
for all the hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is
Well done.
an
Well done,
amazing
team.
organization.
Cool.